This evening, but it's a little rainy out today, but God still gave us a good day today, so glad for that. But we'll get started here this evening. We're going to take prayer requests, but most of you probably know he had a doctor's appointment today. That's where Sarah's at. They're just on their way home, but went to the neurologist. They gave him some answers. Can you pronounce it, Lynn?
Myasthenia gravis.
But it was kind of whatever, that's the kind of symptoms he was having. But Sarah did text me. She said just pray for him and pray that insurance and everything cover tests and things that he's got to have done, or special tests, because it's pretty rare. And so it'll be something that's going to have to be put into God's hands. I don't know that totally doctors can handle it. I think maybe have to go to helping some with, we know the best doctor we can get, but let's pray for them, church, and they can get some answers, get some help, and be on their way. But anybody else got any prayer requests?
Well, thanks, Doug. If whoever took all the decorations down, I know they started that,
Yeah.
but who else did it?
I do like Stephanie said, thank you for the ones that worked on and cleaned the Bible school up. It was greatly appreciated. I know Amanda and Laura, thank y'all. Teddy and Lynn, just working on that stuff. That's a big undertaking, and still another thanks for all the work we put in for the 2 weeks. We all had a big, trying to get that side done and just the effort we put in, but that's part of the Bible there. I think when we get one mind, one accord, it goes along the same, spiritual and physically. So, and we did. It went smooth, and we saw at least one kid saved out of it. So, that's should make it worth all to you right there. One kid, understanding that Jesus Christ died for them and they were saved. It's worth it to me to see that one soul.
Definitely comes down faster than it goes up.
I'm sure.
I know I ask requests for her all the time, but poor Donna's been in and out of hospital. She's just been one thing after another. She gets better and then she gets sick again. One day she got sick, throwing up and everything, they took her, and she was out of the hospital last week, I think, over the weekend she was out. And as far as I know, she's still home, but she's been having so much trouble, so just always remember her in your prayers.
And praise the Lord for this beautiful painting.
Yeah,
Yes,
That's gorgeous.
that's good.
absolutely beautiful.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you, guys. Also, Brooke, she went to the hospital yesterday. She had an appointment at Duke, and they're still running tests. Gave her a few options, so nothing set in stone yet. And they still haven't biopsy or nothing. They had to go and consult with somebody else, but the ball was definitely rolling with her. So just be in prayer for her too.
That's where I took my son when he had cancer. And they kept him for 7.5 years, and they told us he probably wouldn't last more than 3 at the most.
No.
Because the cancer he had, it was brain tumor. Yeah, brain tumor. But what he had was something that was just new. They hadn't even started doing surgery for about 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
2 or 3 months before. Shoot, I can't even talk. I seen him 2 or 3 years before he got sick.
Yeah.
I've got 2 nieces and a nephew that needs your prayers. They're having problems.
Pray for my mom. She has to go for a stress test tomorrow.
a guy I work with too, I thought of this too, he's, y'all heard me talk about him, Todd, but, he's a night shift guy. But, just been a couple months ago, he lost his son, and then his wife ended up having a stroke, and, he just lost his, one of his cousins, I think he was pretty close to, and they're burying him Saturday, so, he had a rough way to go here for a little while, so y'all remember him when you pray. Name's Todd Jarrett.
I don't know if he's on there, that Tony Wilson from over at Jody, you might know him.
Yeah.
He's over in town, he's in pretty bad shape.
Okay.
Bad shape.
All right, well, we will, let's all go to prayer, and we'll just each one later on in prayer tonight. Dear Heavenly Father, we appreciate your grace once again this evening, dear Lord. We just thank you for the opportunity to be able to come out to your house tonight, dear Lord. I just pray that you be with each one of these prayer requests, dear Lord, that's been spoken tonight. Lord, you know that we have, I know that you know each and every one's need here tonight, dear Lord, and I pray that each one of them was spoken, and the ones that was hidden in people's hearts, dear Lord, that you just take them and help them, dear Lord. I know that we have a couple here that's, you know, wasn't mentioned tonight, dear Lord, and I just pray that you get a hold of into their situation, dear Lord, and lead them in the right direction and things, dear Lord. I thank you for this church, dear Lord, and everybody that does things with us, you know, just from everything we've been through here with, in the last couple of weeks, dear Lord. I just pray that you give us the strength just to stay on fire for you, dear Lord, and we can continue to do these things, be with us as we plan these different things with different churches and things, dear Lord, that it can just be that building to the community and that building to our church, dear Lord. Be with our building as we continue to work on it, dear Lord, that this, you give us the time and the means to be able to do that, Lord, that we can just, you know, get your house in order, dear Lord, and straighten up in the best possible way that we could, dear Lord. We just thank you for everything you do for us. I pray that you be with Bud as he goes through this diagnosis, dear Lord, you know, that even though they say that things can't be taken care of, dear Lord, and the only option is this, but I pray that, you know, that this be your will, dear Lord, that you just take it into your hands and you heal it and fix it the way that you want to, dear Lord. Be with Brooke as she goes through this cancer and things, dear Lord, that you can just come down and touch her, dear Lord. You know, that I still thank you for telling me, you know, just taking it off my shoulders, dear Lord. You know, when I come to you, I pray, dear Lord, I just pray that you can touch that and touch the whole situation with mom and dad as they face this, dear Lord, that they, you know, the worry of their kids and things like that, dear Lord. I just pray that you can just remove that from them, dear Lord. Just help them through it. Just come down and comfort them and rack them up, dear Lord. Whatever the reason for all this, dear Lord, I just pray that you be in it, that if it leads somebody to salvation, dear Lord, you know, that they're lost, dear Lord. I just pray that they'll get directed in their path, dear Lord. I pray that you be with Gene, dear Lord, if he's got different procedures coming up, that you can just be with him, dear Lord, for acting. I pray that you be with his church, dear Lord, that he can lead it in the way that he needs to be leading it, dear Lord, and everything that he can stay in your will, dear Lord. You know, most of all, I pray that I can do that also, dear Lord, that I can stay in your will, I can lead the church in the way that it needs to be led, that I can be the proper shepherd for the flock that we have, dear Lord. You know, I thank you for the ones that we do. I pray that you bring each one of them back out tonight, dear Lord. You know, as we look at the service tonight, I pray that you be with Mike and as he leads the adults here, dear Lord, and as I believe Lord takes the kids back, dear Lord. I just pray that you be with both of the teachers, that they can share your word and everything that they got, dear Lord, this evening, and it can be a great uplifting to each individual here, dear Lord, and we can take something away from it, open our hearts and minds, and just receive it and take it and use it into the world, dear Lord. We can just have that boldness that we need for you, dear Lord. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we're going to turn it over. Kids, y'all are heading off with a new teacher for the Wednesday night. Said she's going to whip y'all into shape, and I'm going to turn it over to Mike. I'm going to grab your phone.
Oh, okay, thank you. Did you guys have a song?
That's all right, we played it before church.
Sing.
Mike.
I'll tell you here in a second.
I forgot that.
Yeah, maybe we can sing it here later on.
I get music players, and I don't need music. That's pretty good one. Forget the song.
I want to tell you a little bit about the visitors that we had on Sunday after church. They said to me, man, that was really a good pastor preacher, how he said, that was a really good message. We liked it.
It's all gone.
We think he might have left his glasses here. There's a pair of foldable.
Oh, really?
They are. I
Okay.
noticed these the other day because they look like antennas. When they
Maybe
fold
he
them,
needs they're foldable, yeah. But you can fold them, the glasses.
Get a 49.
49?
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Where are we at?
Yeah, no doubt. How long has it been?
It's been a little while.
I'll do a little recap here. That was a good time though with VBS. I mean, I know we're all pretty tired, but
especially Mike, he's very tired and he's got some serious back issues.
Yeah.
I should have asked for prayer for him. I'm very sorry.
yeah, my back is not in a good state right now. So,
And his blood pressure's been high, I'm telling him.
are you stopped?
Hey, and I forgot to mention,
Oh
Shelley.
I
yeah.
think it'll go through the headphones.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Shirley Harold
He's gonna use my
also
clicker one soon.
is
Might
having
turn
some
the other one down. Okay, right.
health problems.
He's
Y'all
gonna use my
remember
clicker
her?
one.
Who's that?
Shelley, well, she's,
Out,
Shelley.
out here?
Which one is it?
Richard's mom?
Shirley.
It's,
Oh.
it's Shirley,
Oh, okay.
Shelley.
546. I can hear it. How you doing, Ray?
Shelley
Good.
Keith is her name now.
I finally had enough time to put strings on the guitar, so yeah, it sounds really good. But I'm getting a big echo up here. So,
Mike, did you hear she had a prayer request?
what's it for Shelley Harold?
Shelley Keith, well, she was a Harold. It's
Oh,
Miss
okay.
Shirley, it's Miss Shirley Harold's daughter.
Okay. All right. And you're telling on all my health issues, just quit. But, yeah, this thing is really cranking. I can hear it echo. No, we're in Daniel chapter 9. Again. We've been there for a little while. Go there to verse 20. And like I said, just a little recap on this. Daniel's praying and he's confessing his sin and the sin of his people. And Gabriel, whom he had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, reached him about the time of the evening offering, which was about 3 p.m. And it says, "O Daniel, I have come forth to give skill to understand." And that kind of leads us into the revelation of the 70 weeks in verse 24. So let's see here. We'll skip down. This is on. It's not working there. Why is this thing not working so well?
You may have to point it to.
You working?
It is now. I don't know if I'm going in the right direction. I'm going in the wrong direction. Okay.
We know how to fix that.
Yeah.
You're going in the wrong
Wrong
direction.
direction. I can't get this to work. But anyway, go to. Oops, don't do that.
You may need to, like, is the batteries good?
Okay, go to 58. Okay. So, yeah, it's on. Let's see. There. It's working now, I think. All right.
Put the laptop up higher, maybe. we'll
Okay.
have connection.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 24 reads, 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy one. And we went through them, all these things here, and I just wanted to show you that, what it was all pointing to, and of course we know that it was pointing to the cross, because God's going to put an end to the sins. He's going to bring in everlasting righteousness, and he's going to seal up the vision and the prophecy, and he's going to fulfill all these things through Christ. Okay, so we'll go to 25 here. Let me get this up here. Have to get back into the swing of things here. It says, so if this is pointing to Christ and what he did on the cross, and ultimately setting up his kingdom, that will be an everlasting kingdom, because he will bring an end to sin and bring in everlasting righteousness. Even when the Jews come out of exile, they're going to sin again, as we can see this in the future. So how can this all happen in the span of 70 weeks? Or 490 days. Can anyone explain that? Remember what he said. He says 70 weeks are determined for your people and your holy city.
It's not 70 weeks.
What?
It's not just weeks. Right.
So remember, Daniel is getting this prophecy in 538, 539 BC, and he's talking about Jesus, and we know that's another 500 and some odd years in the future. So how can this be 70 weeks or 490 days? Anybody have any idea?
Well, it can be because it's God. But the reasoning behind it is the transgressions where they didn't do the Passover. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't do the 7 years. Yeah, for the Sabbaths, to let the land rest. Okay, so if we look at those things, the transgressions, the end of sins, the reconciliation for iniquity, everlasting righteousness, the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy one. Okay? So, wouldn't you agree that some of these things are going to be fulfilled at this period of time, but some of the things are in a future time? Because, like I said, we know that the Jews are going to go back and they're going to rebuild, but then they're going to sin again. So do you think that some of these things could be, like I said, going to happen, at this time period, and some of the, because to bring in everlasting righteousness, when you say that, what would you think of there?
Everlasting righteousness.
Yeah.
Jesus, heaven.
Yeah. I mean, the eternal state of us being with Christ and being with God for eternity. That's everlasting righteousness.
So that'll be in the future.
So, yes, I mean, wouldn't that, wouldn't you agree to that? So, but anyway, we'll get to this. So let's dig deeper on this 70 weeks thing. Are they actually 70 weeks of days? Oh, here, remember the year Daniel got this prophecy was 539 BC. Can all these things happen in 70 actual weeks of days, or do the days of the week stand for something else?
Well, my reference says that according to back in 25, that the public square and moat were rebuilt by the time the first 7 weeks, which was 49 years,
Mm-hmm.
were completed.
Yep.
So,
Yep. You're on the right track.
yeah.
So
Every seven-
there's 49 years.
Yeah.
So it took 49 years to complete the temple.
Yeah.
So, let's go to the next slide here. You're doing good, Lynn. 70 weeks must mean something more. The meaning of week in this scripture text. And the word week is Shabua in the Hebrew, and heptad is what we kind of use it's kind of a slang English kind of term, but it's a group or set of 7. So Shabua is what the Hebrew is. And it's specifically for years, and that's from Strong's Concordance. If you look that up, you look up Shabua, it's a group of 7 of years. So, Numbers 14:34, if somebody would like to read that.
After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promises.
So it was each day. It was each day for a year. Well, you were right on that one. You could see the whole. He sees the whole thing. I can't surprise them.
We have to stop the prayer for this man. He's right here in the middle of the church.
But it's each day is set up for a year. So let me see here. There, yeah. Ezekiel 4:4-6. If someone would read that.
Go ahead, Ron.
Why? Okay.
4-6. Lie thou also upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of the days thou shalt lie upon it, thou shalt bear their iniquity. For I have laid upon thee the years of their iniquity, according to the number of the days, 390 days, so shalt thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. And when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah for 40 days. For I have appointed thee each day for a year.
Okay, so here we go again. Each day represents a year. So this is not some kind of random thing. This is something that God has used this method before. So it must be years, because all these things can't be completed in 490 days. Because if we go down, and we'll just very quickly go ahead and I'll read the next. I'll read 26 and 27, and in chapter 9, 26 and 27. If you want to go there in your Bibles, hopefully you're already there. And after the 62 weeks, Messiah will be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Okay, so they haven't even built back the city and the sanctuary, and they're already talking about it being destroyed again. Lynn just gave us a really, really good hint that it took 49 years to rebuild the city and the temple, and here in 26, it's already talking about it being destroyed again. So we know from history that in AD 70, it was destroyed again. All right? So And it says, the end of it shall be with a flood. Until the end of the war, desolations are determined. Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. But in the middle of the week he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering, and on the wing of abominations shall be one who makes desolate, even unto the consummation which is determined is poured out on the desolate. So, I think we can all agree that these aren't days. Actually, the word, like I said, the word day is not mentioned in this text. It's weeks, it's Shabuah, it is a group of 7, specifically of years. So, I'm just laying a foundation here. We gotta get that before we can get anything else.
And this whole section, verse 20 through 27, in my book has the title of the prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 verses that are just, it goes from this time of Daniel to the end of time. You know, so if the 70 weeks are weeks of years, then we can conclude that 70 times 7 equals 490 years. Where have we heard this before? Has God used this before?
Yes.
Yes, he has.
Forgiveness.
What's that?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness, that's right. 70 weeks are determined for your people and city. In that time frame, God finishes all this list. Okay? All the lists there in 24. You know, he takes care of it all. So, let's go to here. Okay, so when does the 70 weeks countdown start? How can we determine that? Let's read, let me go ahead and read 25 again. Okay? Because I think we've already established what's going on in 24. 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times. So, when does this 70 weeks countdown start? Any ideas? What's the text say?
The going forth of the command
So there's a command.
To restore and rebuild Jerusalem.
So to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. Okay? So Daniel's praying. Gabriel comes. He wants to know what's going on because he knows that they're going back. They're going out of Babylon. They're going back from the exile. And this is the prophecy that Gabriel's given to him. So he's set up all these things in 24 of what's going to, kind of a quick, knowledge of everything that's going to happen. And then he's saying here, he said, know this, therefore, and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem, and it's very specific. It's the street shall be built again and the wall. And it shall be done in troublesome times. Okay, so.
During the tribulation?
What
You're saying? Will be during the tribulation?
it'll be during troublesome times. We'll get to that. The tribulation's a little bit later, but once we get into reading this, you'll understand what's going on. So 1, there is a command. To restore and build Jerusalem
You may need to get better.
until Messiah the Prince. There's 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street, open square, wall, moat are rebuilt, and it's done in troublesome times. So there's some command that says this. Okay, so finally here, I'm going to give you guys a timeline. Finally made it. So here we go. There's a command to rebuild Jerusalem. Then, as Lynn said, there's 70 weeks. Or 7 weeks, sorry. And then the temple and city are completed. I put a question mark there because I was going to go over that a little bit, but you did a great job by showing that reference there. And that's what that is. And actually, that reference comes from Josephus, and I believe he was a Roman historian. And I think that's probably, there's very limited accounts on that. But if you ever look up anything on Josephus, it's not in the Bible, but he is like a Roman historian that had a lot of these things wrote down. And then there's 62 weeks. Okay, so we got 7 weeks, we got 62 weeks until Messiah the Prince. All right, and we know that it says here, okay, yeah, we're not there yet. But, and then like I said, there's a time period. Of course, Daniel didn't know this time period, but we know it now. The city and the sanctuary is destroyed in 70 AD. Okay? So what we have to figure out is the time period back here. Where and when was the command to rebuild Jerusalem? And then we got 7 weeks, we got 62 weeks. What's missing here? 1 week. One very, very important week. Okay. Now that I have you all sitting on the edge of your seats. Oh, for a week. That's 7 years. Yeah.
See you next week.
Okay, so when and who gives this command? All right, so remember, the Jews are about to go back to Jerusalem. The exile is almost over. The Medes and the Persians have defeated the Babylonians. Remember the writing on the wall? You know, that Belshazzar, they brought the articles in. They committed abominations. And the writing on the wall, and Daniel comes in. He says, you're going to be, your kingdom's divided, and you're going to, it's been taken away from you. And that very night, the Medes and the Persians came in and killed them all and took over. So that is the silver part. That's the chest and the arms of the Metal Man kingdoms are now in control. Now, God has set up these kingdoms, and this is very important. He has put in place rulers that are favorable to the Jewish people. Okay, remember how bad Belshazzar was, about doing this with these articles, and how he sinned and committed all these abominations of, praising his gods with these articles that were in the temple. And Nebuchadnezzar never did that. When he took the articles from the temple, he left them in his temple and never got them out. But Belshazzar got them out. Okay, so where can we find this command? Does anyone know? Anyone have an idea? Ronnie, you can't answer. I'll show you. What is that? I'll show you if you look at the screen. It's in the Bible. The command is in the Bible.
Well, I thought you meant where.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, I mean, I didn't know if anyone had heard of the command or whatever, but I'm sorry. But
Yeah, that's what I was digging for.
okay.
For the specific verse.
I was thinking, maybe no one's ever looked at that or whatever, but that's fine. Yeah, good. You should always look in the Bible. Okay, so there is actually 4 decrees. Okay? There's 4 commands, and we're going to look at those. And the first command is the decree of Cyrus, king of Persia. Look at the date. The date was the same as when he became king over Babylon, when they come and destroyed it. Ezra 1, 1 through 4. And we'll read that.
Let's say we're gonna end up over in Nehemiah one time.
Oh, yeah. Ezra 1, 1 through 4. If someone would want to read that.
Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the now in the first year, first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, so that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and also put it in writing, saying, Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth the Lord God of heaven has given me, and he has commanded me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is among you of all his people? May his God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is God, which is in Jerusalem. And whoever is left in any place where he dwells, let the men of his place help him with silver and gold, and goods and livestock, besides the freewill offerings for the house of God, which is in Jerusalem.
Okay. Wow, this guy's a lot different than Belshazzar. Look at what he says. It says, may his God be with him. Remember what I said about God had set up these people, these kings, favorable for this time period for them to go back and build. All right, so Cyrus, king of Persia, makes this decree, that they go back. What are they to go back and do?
Building the house.
Building the house. Okay? So you're talking about the temple, right? They're to go back and build the temple. And what else? What else is he decreeing? Yeah, I'll get verse 4. What else is he decreeing?
Oh, I'm reading here, it's that the Gentiles will be helping as well, according to the, my note on verse 2. I think it's verse 2.
I guess the men
Oh.
will bring the silver and gold and the livestock.
It says, let the men, i.e. Gentile neighbors, were to help by their donations.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's, there's actually a confirmation. We'll get to the next one. Lynn, you're always ahead of me. But we'll get to the next one. And, we'll get to the next one, and that's what it's talking about. But verse 4 there, the first line of that, it says, and whoever remains in any place where he sojourns, let the men of his place help him with silver and gold, with goods and livestock, beside the freewill offerings of the house of God, which is in Jerusalem. So all these people are coming together. They're bringing all this stuff together to rebuild the temple. Okay? Now, go back to chapter 9, verse 25 or 26 in Daniel. Does this match up? We already went through the command, so we'll go and then we'll go here. So does this command match up with Daniel 9:25? What does the command specifically say?
To restore and build Jerusalem.
Okay? So what are they going back to do?
Build house.
Build a house.
Build a temple.
Yeah, well, but.
Okay, yeah, but no, it's very specific.
Restore and build Jerusalem.
Yeah.
What's the next to the last line there in 25?
The temple side of
No, the street shall be built again and the wall.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's specifically the temple that is being decreed here, but does it say anything about the street and the wall? No, it doesn't. So it says the temple. All right, so does this command match up with Daniel 9:25?
Except for that. No.
Except for that. Okay? Once we get into this more and you read more scripture, you'll be like, that's the one. Okay? So I'll just give you that point. All right? So this one doesn't actually match up exactly what the prophecy says. And I guess you can disagree with me or whatever. You know. Okay, so Ezra, let's go to this confirmation of this one. Like I say, there's like three main ones. This one is just more of a, okay, because what happens is that they're going back, they're rebuilding the temple, and then there's people around them are like, hey, what are you guys doing? No, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know, and now there's this confirmation to the king saying, no, they're allowed to do this. I am allowing them to build the temple. Because remember, the Jews must have the temple. It is first and foremost. Their life cannot go on without the temple. Okay? Ezra 6, 1 through 12.
1 through 12.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'll read a couple.
Well, I mean, we just read a couple. Someone want to read a couple and then someone else.
Then Darius the king made God save the queen. Then Darius the king made a decree, and search was made in the house of the rolls, where the treasures were laid up in Babylon. And there was found at Achmetha in the palace that is in the province of the
Media or something?
Medes,
Oh, okay.
a roll, and therein was a record thus written.
Okay, hang on a second. All right. So in verse 2 there it says, mine says, a scroll was found, and in it a record was written, and this is what's going to be written. So this is just a confirmation of the first decree.
Right.
Okay? And I guess, you know, if we want to read the rest of it, we can. It's kind of lengthy, but I mean, go ahead if somebody wants to read.
We don't have to.
No,
But like I said, it's just a confirmation. You know, they went into the archives. They found this thing because, like I said, when they started going back and started rebuilding the temple, you know, they're getting opposition from people around all over, and you know, you'll come to find out that you'll understand the troublesome times when the city was built. Okay, when we get into that. All right, so.
and that does say, the next verse starts with, in the first year of Cyrus, and it does say, let the house be built.
Yeah, let the house be rebuilt, the place where they offered sacrifices, and let the foundations be firmly laid, its height
That's how to
6.
do it.
Yeah, you know, so, but I mean, he's specifically talking about the temple. He's not talking about the wall. He's not talking about the street. Yeah, I hate to be a stickler on this, but we have to understand this to see a lot more other things that God's revealed. Okay, so we could see that this doesn't match up. You know, it's basically the same thing as the first one.
So are you gonna tell us what does match up?
Yes. Yes, I am. You just have to be patient. But I want you to see what's going on here. You know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, now we have a decree of Artaxerxes. So, and that is 457 BC. Okay? And this thing is not working. We'll go to Ezra 7 and 11 through 28. And somebody can go ahead and take off on that one. Read as much as you want and then someone else go.
Now this is a copy of the letter that King gave unto Ezra the priest, even the scribe of words,
Just call him Art.
and everything, of the commandments of the Lord and of his statutes to Israel. Art, King of kings, unto Ezra the priest and scribe of the law of God of heaven, perfect peace at such a time. I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will, to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. For as much as thou art sent of the king, and have several counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of thy God, which is in thine hand, and to carry the silver and the gold which the king and his counselors have freely offered unto the God of Israel, whose habitation is in Jerusalem. Thanks so much.
16.
And all the silver and gold that thou canst find in all the province of Babylon, with the freewill offering of the people and of the priests offering willingly to the house of their God which is in Jerusalem. That thou mayest but buy speedily with this money bullocks, rams, lambs, and their meat offerings and their drink offerings, and offer them upon the altar of the house of your God which is in Jerusalem. And whatsoever shall seem good to thee and to thy brethren to do with the rest of the silver and gold that do after the will of your God. The vessels also that are given thee for the service of the house of thy God, those deliver thou before the God of Jerusalem. 20.
And whosoever more shall be needful for the house of thy God, which thou shalt have occasion to bestow it out of the king's treasury house.
And I, Artaxerxes, the king, do make a decree to all the treasures which were beyond the river, that whatsoever Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of the God of heaven, shall require of you, it be done speedily. Unto 100 talents of silver and 100 measures of wheat, and 100 baths of wine, and to 100 baths of oil, and salt without prescribing how much. Whatsoever is commanded by the God of heaven, let it be diligently done for the house of God of heaven. For why should there be wrath against the realm of the king and his sons?
What number was we going to?
We're going to 28. We're on 24 right now.
Also, we certify you that touching any of the priests and Levites, singers, porters, Nethmans, or ministers of the house of God, it shall now not be lawful to impose toll, tribute, or custom upon them. And though Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God, that is in thine hand, set magistrates and judges, which may judge all the people that are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of thy God, and to teach ye them that know them not. And whosoever will not do the law of thy God, and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death, or to banishment, or to confiscation of goods, or to imprisonment. Blessed be the Lord God of our fathers, which hath put such a thing as this in the king's heart, to beautify the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem, and hath extended mercy unto me before the king and his counselors, and before all the king's mighty princes, and I was strengthened as the hand of the Lord my God was upon me, and I gathered together out of Israel chief men to go up with me.
Okay.
A statement.
You have a statement.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So, but what is actually going on here?
Just beautifying the house.
So they're beautifying the house, and they are setting up, magistrates. They're setting up judges, for all the people, and such is known in the laws, and teach those who do not know them. Okay, so they're getting organized here. Okay, so and that was the question. Does this decree fulfill chapter 9:25 prophecy? But in some ways, you would think that they would be doing, something with the city, because the city's in ruins. Okay, but just hang on. Just hang on. Remember, there's 4 decrees. This is number 3. Okay, so all right. So some believe this could be the command, the decree to rebuild the city. Still mainly about beautifying the temple. They could have worked on the city also. So let's just consider this date. Remember, we're looking for a time frame here. We're looking for a command that starts a clock. So 457. It's math time. Okay, go to Daniel. Daniel 9:25.
This is feeling like school.
All right, sorry. Okay, so what Daniel 9:25? What are the numbers we're given? What's the numbers? When you had 1, 7, okay, and 62, right?
Right.
So that is 69 years, right? Or 69 weeks. Sorry.
Which is years.
Which, how many years is that? It's not a trick question. So 69 times 7.
483.
483 years.
I thought it
This thing. I want to work.
ran harder.
There. Okay. So 457 slash year 6 BC plus 483 years, because this said it was in the first year. Okay, so we don't know if it was, carried over into another year. So 457 or 456 BC. And remember, everyone, these dates are a little, but it's interesting how close these things come. God's got the perfect timing. We've got historians that have this timing, and it's close. But I want to show you something. So if you do that, you get to 2627 AD. All right? Now remember, what is the prophecy? Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince. 2627 AD. It's off a year because there's no year 0. Okay? So, but 2627 AD. Somewhere close in there. What do we see here? And this thing is
Hold your left foot.
there. Okay, can we think of anything miraculous that happened in the year 26 or 27 AD? Ronnie, knock it off. Anything. 26 or 27 AD. Anything? What's the prophecy say? Look at it. Read it again to yourself.
We've already read it.
It doesn't matter. Read it until God shows it to you.
Well, I might be here all night.
Well, that's all right. He's either going to show it to you or I am. Because that's what he showed
Is
me.
that when the Messiah comes? The Jesus comes?
Jesus,
Yeah.
John the Baptist baptized.
Jesus' baptism.
Okay, there we go.
Okay? So, it's, like I said, the dates, I mean, like Jesus' birth. Does anyone here believe that December 25th is his actual birth, year 0? I mean, no. Okay? Because we know that the shepherds were buying their fields by night. They're not in the wintertime. Okay? They're late September, early October, at the very latest, early October in the fields at night. Okay? So Jesus was not born, in the winter.
Well, I actually checked the weather.
Did you check the weather?
This day, and it was 56 degrees, I think, in Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and scholars, traditionally believe, and you can go look at these things up. I'm just, I don't know if it's true or not. Like I said, the dates are a little, but 6 to 4 BC, Christ was born. Is what is what they say. I mean, like I said, you can go look that up for yourself. However, it doesn't matter, but it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that Daniel said, hey, there's going to be 7 weeks. There's going to be 62 weeks. These weeks are weeks of years. It's 483 years. And guess what happens in 483 years? Jesus comes and
This is my son, my beloved son in whom.
yeah. And what we know is that now he is in his public ministry, So he's doing all these things now, openly. And like I said, once we get into this, you'll understand a lot more. So yeah, Jesus is baptized and starts his public ministry. But like I said, does this fulfill the Daniel chapter 29 prophecy? In some aspects it does. It's not perfect, but it's very interesting that in almost 500 years before that event happened, that Gabriel comes and tells Daniel, hey, this is going to happen until, Messiah the Prince.
Just think how random that is.
It's just, God's so random, isn't he? Like I said, the randomness of this is that we don't understand. We don't know the exact days, And I'm sure if we had God's mind and knew the exact days that, this happened on and that happened on, that, it would be exactly 483 years, But it's close. It's interesting, Possibly the command is still mainly about rebuilding the temple, of course, Jewish life centered around the temple. It was number one priority to them, period. That was it. That's all they really cared about.
You could look at it another way, if you wanted to go out on this tangent. With the Messiah being introduced with his baptism and everything, you could also look at it that the temple is replaced by, when you come to the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yeah.
In essence, there's still a temple
Yeah.
in the Jewish, and by the Bible, but all of that law and everything was taken care of through the crucifixion and resurrection.
Through the cross, The veil in the holies of holies was ripped in two because that opens it up and anyone can enter now.
Yeah.
Not just the high priest once a year. Anybody can go there anytime and go into the Holy of Holies.
Can you imagine if we had to write down all our sins and go one time a year? There's not enough paper.
Yeah, no doubt.
For me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the temple. The temple was everything to them. Their life could not go on without the temple. So.
There's somewhere in the Bible that says that our body is a temple.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. We're, this is the temple, So,
One day.
it's 8 o'clock. I don't know if I want to get into this last one. So,
I'm gonna throw you off a little bit. I know this don't pertain to the can you imagine, seeing that cloth being torn? Nobody touched it.
Yeah,
You know, it was just hanging there and,
yeah.
I mean, that should make a believer of it.
And I heard one time that, someone told me one time, and I don't know if this is true, but I thought it was very interesting, that veil, I mean, it would be easily ripped, but that veil was so thick. It was like super thick, just layer upon layer upon layer. Nobody could go back there, you know, and it was, you know, just rent, you know, it was just tore, like you say, you know. Someone told me that. I don't know where they got that information.
Have you ever seen a movie that depicts that? I mean,
No.
I saw something once that kind of depicted what that was like, and it's almost chilling
Yeah.
when you see that. So to realize what it actually means
Oh, yeah.
to the Christian life is.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that happen on that day that are reflected in a lot of other things. So, yeah, God's not random. He does not do random things. What we're going to do is, it's 8 o'clock. And
Adam, did you have something you was
if I
I'm
could,
gonna change my time machine to 26 again now.
okay. So our man Artaxerxes, you know, he has a second decree. All right, and the homework is read Nehemiah. Very good, Adam.
I've already
Read,
done that now.
read Nehemiah chapter 1 and 2, and we'll do that. Does this decree fulfill the chapter 9:25 prophecy? Okay, and we'll end with that. So you can have the homework for next week. So thank you all.
You know what, it's all this,
What's that?
we just wasn't saying against God.
Yeah. Well, somebody wouldn't eat the apple, you know.
God. It's all hard.
That's it.
But you know, I feel like that if it wasn't for Eve and Adam, somebody else would have done it.
Oh, yeah. It'd all be on me or something, huh? Oh, there's been.
But you know, like I said, that's, you know, the baptism in that day, and the next one is going to get even more interesting.
So that's,
Is that called clickbait?
Yeah, it's going to be even more interesting. Don't miss it. Your life may depend on it.
Y'all are coming. Now, what?
I don't think I can
So I don't forget. Thank you, Mike. That was good.
You can't let out the secret.
We're,
I did.
You hold the secret.
Did? How much that's
I want to try to keep him up there so I don't have to say him, so I put him up there before church. I'm gonna try to start doing that, or me, Gabe, or Ronnie, or something. We'll try to get him up there before church. When we're here, turn it on, try to leave him up there. So, one tell the church, if you got something to add to announcements, just tell us. We'll put it on there. So, it ain't just something we do. If you got something you need to put on there, great. Early prayer request. Say in prayer for that. Remember, leading up to Sunday, had a lot of visitors and things Sunday morning, so let's remember all of them. Hopefully they come back and, leave that. Thank the Lord for kids. And, I believe that's it, because we got the announcements. Anybody got anything to add?
Remember those people, I forget where it's at, that's in that big old machine that they lost and they can't find it? Submarine. They can't find it, and tomorrow's the last breath of air they have on it, or whatever you said.
Yeah. Good.
I just pray that they know God.
Amen, that's for sure.
Jesus.
Remember me, I gotta go early to the doctor in the morning. Call something out.
All right, well, kids,